Hello everyone, and welcome on back into Bears. Today I want to talk about to do a new type of series away from gaming with my other passion, which is true crime documentaries. And I just wanted to discuss a case that in these true crime documentaries that I watch, and discuss the case and discuss motives and the reasons why they did it or the case itself. For this one, we're gonna be starting off with Aaron Hernandez. If you guys don't know, there is a new documentary on Netflix for the case of Aaron Hernandez, who was a former NFL star for the Patriots. He eventually was convicted of murder, accused for a double homicide, but did not get convicted for that charge. And I'm not sure if he got convicted for attempted murder. So I wanted to discuss it because there was something interesting in this documentary that they claimed about, which is why I have these brain scans on the screen. So this is about CTE. CTE is pretty much caused from continuous trauma to the head. What it does is it changes your temporal lobe. This one on the right is a normal one, and this brain, you can see kind of like how the brain's a little bit smaller, and a bunch of the brain just does not look healthy. And you can see this right here is it's enlarged compared to it, and that's what causes. And this is sort of a brain with CTE. So continuous trauma to the head, which is common in football players right now. Another football star in the early 2000s. I remember this, actually. I don't remember his name, so I'm sorry if that offends you that I don't remember his name. I don't remember the name of the football star who committed suicide and donated his brain to science to further the scientific research for CTE, but he did an honorable thing, very honorable sacrifice that he did, committing suicide at a young age to further help his fellow NFL players with figuring out more about this disease. Eventually, after Aaron Hernandez was convicted of murder of Odin Lloyd, he committed suicide after that court case, and after the double homicide court case where he was acquitted. He committed suicide, and eventually his family was convinced and donating his brain to science to study CTE, and it was revealed that he did have a very severe case of CTE. Of course, he's been playing football for years, so of course, over the years, it has gotten worse and has gotten more of a problem. So some of the causes and some of the side effects of CTE has to do with various violent outbursts, increase in violence in general, and early signs of dementia and rash decision making. So your decision making isn't very as good as it should be. And people in this documentary started to kind of link CTE with the reason why he committed murder. Do I believe that this is true? That this is why he did it? No. I don't think CTE would be the direct reason he committed murder. There are many football stars, like I stated, that have CTE, that have been diagnosed with this, and they have not gone out and committed murder. There is definitely a more of a motive behind it that we will never know if it's true or not. There are rumors behind his motives as to why he killed Odin Lloyd. But do I believe that CTE is the reason why he committed it? No. Not at all. I don't think this is the whole reason. Could it have been a factor? Yes. Like I said, it increases violence and also makes decision making not the greatest. So, hence why I think he committed murder. But there's also some other factors into why he committed murder on Odin Lloyd. One of them being that he was definitely intoxicated when he committed murder. He was drunk. He was high off his rocker. You can tell, but one of the evidence that was against him that pinpointed him to the murder scene and the crime was there was a blunt that was found on the crime scene with his DNA on it. There was no undeniable proof that he did it, and he was there. So I think what caused the murder to happen was that he was 100% intoxicated and high, and combined with CTE, with his outbursts and violence and rash decision making, I think that's what ultimately caused him to murder Odin Lloyd. Now, I didn't like when they sort of kind of give you a little bit of sympathy. Oh, well, it could have been a disease. No. I'm going to tell you right now, I personally, when it comes to people who do murder others, I don't always think that it's going to be because of a disease or mental disorder. Some cases it can be, but in this case with CTE, I don't think so. It takes a lot for someone to go out and do that kind of crime, and I don't think that this is the reason why. At all. I don't. So, the other part of the documentary they discuss about, that I want to discuss about, besides his case, and the other double homicide murder he was accused of, was his suicide. Now, if you guys don't know, after trial, he committed suicide, and he died at 27 years old. And there was this law in Massachusetts called Conrad's Law, and that law originated from a man who was a priest, and he sexually assaulted young children, and he was charged with those crimes. But shortly during his appeal, or maybe he was during his court case, he committed suicide. And because he could not finish the trial because he was no longer with us, he was acquitted of those charges. And ever since then, that law has been now called Conrad's Law, where if you die during an open case, your charges will be dropped. Now, that law is extremely stupid. I hate it. I did not know Massachusetts had that law until I watched this documentary. And the same thing happened to Aaron Hernandez. He committed suicide, and he was acquitted of Odin Lloyd's murder. I wholeheartedly do not think that is how anyone should be acquitted of murder. Any charge, any crime at all. Just because you somehow die and cannot finish the case, you should not be acquitted of those charges at all. Especially if you already went into court trial and was charged with it. Now, if you died during the case and the case was not complete, I can see that. But if it was pretty much you're gonna get convicted of it and the person knew it, and they just decided, you know what, there's no hope for me in me being acquitted, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. It's wrong that Massachusetts had that law. I hope no other state has that law, because that's incredibly, incredibly stupid. And such a horrible law. No one should, no matter the case, no matter the crime, no matter nothing, if you have completed the trial and you got your sentence, and you committed suicide while you were in an appeal, you should not be acquitted of the charges. In general, even during an open case, you should not be acquitted. I hate that. It was the worst way to find out that that's how he got acquitted of his charges. But that was only for 2 years. In 2019, the family of Odin Lloyd pleaded with the various court systems in Massachusetts to get that law abolished and put the charges back on his name, because you can't put it back on him because he is no longer with us, back on his name. That is basically the whole reason why that law exists. It basically clears your name. And then it cleared that priest who did it, and it cleared him. So, for 2 years in history, even though he was actually charged with it, and it still shows he was charged with it, in history, he did not have, or for a little while, he did not have those charges with his name. Because he committed suicide while his appeal court was still open. So, Odin Lloyd's mother and his family battled the court systems to get not only that law abolished, but also get that law his charges reinstated. And in 2019, the Supreme Court of Massachusetts deemed it that this law was outdated. It was wrong, and they abolished the Conrad law, and they eventually did put the charges back on his name, so now he is, once again, convicted of being a murderer. So, but there was another narrative that the documentary went through and explained as to another reason why he committed suicide. So, not only with the Conrad's law that he also did, with him being no longer a murderer, or charged with murder, that left his family open to still get the money from the Patriots that he was owed from his contract for the season of football that he did play. Obviously, because he committed murder of someone else, I think the Patriots took away that money that they were going to give him. I'm not sure. They didn't quite explain this very well in the documentary. But I think the other reason why was because he wanted to not only clear his name of his charges with the Conrad law, he also wanted to get the money from the Patriots for his family. And people were saying this as, well, he did this for his family, to get the money from the Patriots. But he was doing this as a family man, basically. And do I think that is anywhere near true? It could be. But I think the main reason why he did it was for that Conrad law. I really do. I don't think he gave two shits about the money for his family. If he cared about his family, if he truly did care about his family, he wouldn't have committed murder in the first place. And he would still be alive, and he would still be playing in the NFL. No matter what rumor associated with that, with his motive was going to be. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is the motive. The courts, I don't know if they ever did put a motive to it. They focused mainly on the evidence that placed him at the scene of the crime. But after the case was done and he was charged with murder, a report came about and said that she talked to Odin Lloyd and she found out what he knew that could have possibly caused Aaron Hernandez to commit murder on Odin Lloyd. Now, part of this documentary was talking about his sexuality. He was in the closet, and a lot of NFL stars feel that they have to be in the closet, and because of this, they think that Odin Lloyd found out that he was in the closet and he was gay, and that he was going to reveal it to his family, or maybe he found out and maybe caught Aaron Hernandez in the deed, and because of him knowing, maybe that is why Aaron Hernandez went and sought to kill him, so that wouldn't get out. Do I think that could be the motive? It very well could be. Along with his violence and intoxication and his very, very, very bad rash decision making, do I think that motive could be true? It could be. It was known, at least some people have revealed that he was in the closet and was gay. And he kept that a secret. It was also revealed that he was sexually assaulted as a kid by, I'm not sure if it was his father or someone else. I'm not sure, but they did say he did have trauma as a child with his sexuality. I do remember them saying that. I'm not sure who it was with, if it was with his father or if it was with someone else. I think it was with someone else. I think someone else sexually assaulted him. So, and after that, I could be wrong. So if that offends anybody, I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I watched this a few weeks ago and I don't remember every detail about it. So people are saying that could have been the cause of his sexual questioning or him being like scared to reveal it, which is very sad. It is. It's sad that any NFL star has to feel like that, where they have to hide who they truly are. No one should ever have to hide who they truly are. And it's definitely was sad to hear about that, but does that give me any sympathy for what he did? No. In the end, he still chose to take someone else's life, and in my eyes, he's still very much wrong for doing it. But could that have been the motive? It could have been. We will never know what either Odin Lloyd possibly knew or what why Aaron did it. But it's an interesting theory, to say the least, and it's very plausible. So, the case itself, the double homicide that he was accused of, and Odin Lloyd's trial was very clear he definitely was there. There was so many evidence stacked against him that pinned him to the crime scene. There was the blunt with the DNA, there was a footprint with his exact shoe and shoe size. There was bullet cases in his rental car. He even tried to pay off the rental car lady who gave him the car, and he never even bothered to clean the car. There were still bullet casings. He tried paying her off with, I think, gum, which is very weird. He has all the money in the world, and he decided he wanted to try paying her off with gum. So he never cleaned the car. He very much was not the smartest person in the world to do this, but again, he was intoxicated, and he also was very high when he did it, so of course he wasn't going to clean up the evidence. He probably had this mentality, and a lot of people did have this mentality, especially when they were back in college, where he also, I think he had violent tendencies when he was in college as well. They said that he punched a bar owner for wanting him to pay his tab for his drinks, basically, and he punched him, and he assaulted this guy, and he actually bursted this guy's eardrum. And the bar owner, did not press charges, and the cops didn't even arrest him for what he did. So, because he was in college, and this was in Gainesville, so this was around the college campus in Gainesville with UF, the Gators, and basically was a known football star. Nobody wanted to, make the Gators lose their chance of a national championship because he got charged with crime. And ever since then, he had this mentality, I can get away with anything because I'm a football star. That's not the case when you're in the real world, buddy. When you commit murder, you can maybe get away with a bar fight, but you're definitely not the dude with murder. So even if you are the star or one of the star players for the Patriots at the time, so he probably was also intoxicated and high and had the CTE problem and was wanting to kill Odin, but he didn't really clean up the mess because he probably thought he could get away with it. And he didn't, obviously. Even, they were also, I think the defense attorneys also tried to pin it on him not actually pulling the trigger. They tried to pin it on the two buddies he brought with him. Even if he didn't commit the murder and he didn't pull the trigger, because they never found the murder weapon, so they can't really tell if he actually did or not. They did. There was two possibilities they could have done. Was the first degree murder and being the mastermind behind it. So the way I said, either way he's convicted anyway, because it was definitely true that he was there. Even if he didn't pull the trigger, he could still go down for being the mastermind behind this plan. It's kind of like Charles Manson, not to that extent, but it's like where even though you're the mastermind behind it, you didn't directly commit the murder, you were still the reason why the murder happened. So you're gonna get charged for it anyway. You're gonna still get the same charges as the two guys did if they did pull the trigger. So you were still gonna be held accountable. Either way, no matter how you looked at it, with this case, Aaron Hernandez is going to go to jail. As soon as he went to the crime scene, it was pretty much game over for him. So he did convict him of first-degree murder, and he went to jail for it. I think he probably got a life sentence. But then there was a double homicide that happened in Boston outside of a bar, where a apparently at that bar he was seen with the people who got murdered. They spilled drinks on him, and Aaron Hernandez was not happy about it. I think he wanted to fight them, but the bar people stopped it, and they left. And then I think Aaron wanted to follow them with his drug dealer friend. I don't remember the drug dealer's friend's name, but they followed him in their car, and I think it was the drug dealer who was driving, and Aaron Hernandez was the passenger, and they followed him. They pulled right up next to them, and he took out his gun, and he fired 5 rounds. The interesting part about this case that I found quite interesting was the fact that he had, the prosecution did use against him. People were saying, oh, well, tattoos doesn't mean anything. When it's the specific of a tattoo that he done on his arm from the tattoo artist, you know that it means something. So the drug dealer described that what happened is that he heard 5 bullets go off, and then the gun started clicking, so there was no more bullets in the cartridge. So that was a 6 caliber bullet cartridge. He had 5 in there, and he had 1 that was missing. So he shot 5 times, and on his arm there was a tattoo of a 5 caliber gun with 5 bullets in the round and 1 missing, just exactly as his friend described it. And he had that tattooed on his arm with a saying. I'm not sure what the Bible saying was, but he had it backwards. That Bible saying backwards. And it was so specific. It was a smoking caliber gun with 5 bullets in it and 1 caliber missing. And that's the prosecution used. Besides the fact that he also found the car that was connected to the crime was found at his cousin's garage, dusty and hidden away. So not only did they have the car to link him to the murder that was found in the garage, they also had the tattoo that he had. Now, it was such a specific tattoo that I don't know how the jury did not convict him of this. And with the witness testimony from his friend, I think they found a way to discredit him. The defense did. The defense found a way to discredit him, trying to pin it on him. But there was part of the defense said, how can you have a tattoo to mean that he committed murder? The prosecution said that was a confession right on his arm, and I 100% agree with it. That was 100% a confession tattooed right on his arm. He was so cocky that he was going to get away with it that he got a tattoo on his arm. I don't know why he decided to get that tattooed, but he did, and it was just such a big coincidence, and I feel really bad that the families of those guys that were murdered, he got away with it, as he had confession pretty much right on his arm. I mean, people get tattoos with stupid shit all the time, but that was such a specific tattoo that there's absolutely no doubt in my mind he 100% did it and got away with it. It was such a wild case when I saw that tattoo. It's just he had confession right on his arm, and he still got away with it. He should have went down for 3 murders, not just 1, but 3. That part confused the shit out of me when he did that. When that came up, I'm just wow. And he didn't get convicted of it. I know it was still circumstantial. I think they did find a way to discredit the witness testimony, but I don't know. I would never be able to get over the fact that he had such a specific tattoo on his arm, and the jury just let him go. That baffled me. It really did. And the car too. I mean, you had the car in your possession. I think that alone should have pinned him. But I guess it goes to the fact that it could have been either or person. But I 100% believe he did that one too. I really do. With his, again, violent outbursts of CTE and rash decision making and him being intoxicated, it definitely did not help his case, in my opinion. But the jury found him innocent, and unfortunately, there was no way that we could do anything about it. So, overall, this case is very interesting to me. It definitely wasn't your typical documentary case, serial killer stuff like that. It was definitely a case that was by passion. each murder. He did not plan it. I think he planned the other one a little bit, but he definitely did not plan the other one. It did not help that he was intoxicated and high and had CTE problems. But I don't excuse that for murder. I don't think anybody should. And I'm so glad Conrad's murder is no longer a thing in Massachusetts. But yeah, that's just sort of my thoughts on the case of Aaron Hernandez. I will be discussing more of these cases, true crime cases, more. I have a whole bunch more that I've watched. I think the next one I'm going to do is the Don't Fuck with Cats one. That one really interested me. I was very intrigued by that one. So I think the next time we do this, the next episode of this will probably be with Don't Fuck with Cats. Again, the reason why I'm doing this is because of the fact that this is my passion. I really do love analyzing these crimes, or these cases, and looking at the motive, the evidence, the case itself, and just sort of trying to, like, put my thoughts into the world and just see what anybody else, if anybody agrees with me, disagrees with me, and how they feel about the case. Again, I'm going to school for criminal justice. I want to be involved in criminal justice a lot. It's been my second passion for a long while now. And it's just so interesting to analyze to me. And I want to start that kind of like here on my YouTube channel. I want it to still be about gaming, but I do want to also show my other passion for true crime and just my interest in these cases. So, I think the next episode you'll see will be about the Don't Fuck with Cats one. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you again in the barracks. I will see you in the barracks again very soon.